Woman's Relationship to Priesthood, Chapter 1 of Holy Priesthood Volume 3. I, Joseph Smith, met the members of the Female Relief Society and gave a lecture on the priesthood, showing how the sisters would come in possession of the privileges, blessings and gifts of the priesthood, and that the signs should follow them. And for the information of all interested in this subject, I, John Taylor, will say, it is not the calling of these sisters to hold the priesthood, only in connection with their husbands, they being one with their husbands. November 1994 Preface. This series of books on the Holy Priesthood would certainly not be complete without including one on the relationship of women to the priesthood. Since shortly before Joseph Smith's organization of the Relief Society in 1842 until the present time, the questions have been asked. Do women really hold the priesthood? What is their true relationship to priesthood? What did the early church leaders think and teach about this subject? Should LDS sisters ask to be given the priesthood today? Answers to these questions range from one extreme to the other, with many variations in between. And, unfortunately, all the correct solutions will certainly not be found within the pages of this book, nor probably any other at present, since the Lord has not seen fit to give us sufficient definitive answers. It is the intent of the author, however, to compile and present enough information so that the reader can at least be better informed about the issues involved, providing a better foundation and background on this controversial subject. Chapter 1 Introduction. In the beginning. While it is sadly true that it was a woman who brought sin into God's fair universe, it was likewise a woman who gave the world the Savior from its sin. Dr. Herbert Lockyer, Introduction to All the Women in the Bible. Was Mother Eve at fault for the sin and sorrow of this world? Did she bring disgrace and a curse upon her daughters so they would be deprived of priesthood? Or was Eve a respectable and worthy woman entitled to the highest honors and blessings of the holy priesthood? These are questions which have, for centuries, baffled preachers and lay believers alike. Even for many Mormons, who have additional knowledge, and who are supposed to understand the order and rites of the holy priesthood, it has been a subject of great controversy and debate. The biblical account of Adam and Eve throws suspicion upon Eve's character and morality. Paul said, Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Then, of course, when Adam did the same thing, he became a transgressor on 2 counts, for partaking of the forbidden tree and for following the woman. This is a peculiar part of biblical history and doctrine, because it is difficult to know which part is figurative and which is literal. It reminds the author of the school teacher who was boasting to her class of the power of mathematics in solving problems. One of the students responded with, "If by eating 1 apple, Mother Eve ruined the whole human family, what would an orchard full of apples do?" An interesting sidelight is that the Bible doesn't even mention that Eve had an apple. Many of the events surrounding the story of Adam and Eve have remained shrouded in mystery. Theologians, scholars, and scientists have entered the debating arena to battle out the theories as far as their imaginations could take them. It was not until light and knowledge were received from new revelation in these latter days that the darkness of ignorance and superstition was dispelled. As Brigham Young stated, the very best of them would marvel why God suffered Lucifer or the serpent to tempt Mother Eve. That always has been a great mystery to the world, and is to this day, with the exception of the knowledge that has gone forth from the Lord through his prophet Joseph. Many religionists consider the actions of Adam and Eve to be a serious sin or transgression. Let us consider the definition of these two terms. To transgress, to overstep or break a law, commandment, etc. To go beyond. To sin, to break a religious law or moral principle. Noun, an offense, misdemeanor, or fault. In the case of our first parents, it was the transgressing of a lesser law, eating mortal food, in order to obey a higher law, procreating the earth with mortal children. Keeping both laws was an impossibility. Brigham Young, because of his increased knowledge on the subject, was very lenient and understanding toward Adam and Eve, especially the latter. Some may regret that our first parents sinned. This is nonsense. If we had been there, and they had not sinned, we should have sinned. I will not blame Adam or Eve. Why? Because it was necessary that sin should enter into the world. No man could ever understand the principle of exaltation without its opposite. No one could ever receive an exaltation without being acquainted with its opposite. How did Adam and Eve sin? Did they come out in direct opposition to God and to his government? No. But they transgressed a command of the Lord, and through that transgression, sin came into the world. The Lord knew they would do this, and he had designed that they should. We also understand the earth, and the nature of the earth, and why God permitted Mother Eve to partake of the forbidden fruit. We should not have been here today if she had not. We could never have possessed wisdom and intelligence if she had not done it. It was all in the economy of heaven, and we need not talk about it. It is all right. We should never blame Mother Eve, not the least. The Book of Mormon also promotes this more understanding approach. And now, behold, if Adam had not transgressed, he would not have fallen, but he would have remained in the Garden of Eden. Here Nephi is putting most of the blame on Adam, not Eve. And they would have no children, wherefore they would have remained in a state of innocence, having no joy, for they knew no misery, doing no good, for they knew no sin. Nephi then concludes with the positive result: Adam fell that men might be. It might be said that Eve took the lead in the transgression, but Adam took the responsibility. Another mortal world began as Eve became the mother of all living, to fulfill the great mission she was appointed to before coming to this world. Further study will reveal the fact that Eve set the stage for the order, the pattern and the example for all her daughters. She was a perfect helpmate, comforter, and companion to her husband in all things. If the fall, had been such a terrible sin, then certainly Adam and Eve would not have been worthy of the rights and blessings of the holy priesthood. The prophet Joseph Smith said, "The priesthood was first given to Adam. He obtained the first presidency, and held the keys of it from generation to generation. He obtained it in the creation, before the world was formed, as in Genesis 1:26, 27, 28. He had dominion given him over every living creature. He is Michael the archangel, spoken of in the scriptures. Then to Noah, who is Gabriel, he stands next in authority to Adam in the priesthood. He was called of God to this office, and was the father of all living in this day, and to him was given the dominion. These men held keys first on earth, and then in heaven. This clearly establishes that Adam was called to priesthood obligations in the pre-mortal world, and he was not ignorant of his mission and responsibilities on earth. The same would apply to Eve as well. Next program we will be reading and discussing Chapter 2 of Holy Priesthood Volume 3, all about Eve. Fundamentally Mormon Goes live Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Time, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The guest call-in number is 917-889-8827 and the host opens up the phone lines for questions and comments after the daily reading. A chat room is also available at the website linked below during the live show blogtalkradio.com.